Okay, folks, I'm back, and I'm talking directly to Georgians out there, okay? Now, the bottom line is, okay, Stacey Abrams, and I do not agree with this. I don't accept racism. It's not okay. I don't think we are in the place where the media feels that they say we are, okay? I do not. I told you, you know, where I grew up, I'm just going to give you real quick. I grew up, let's just say there was 30 kids. Now, my math doesn't work out, all right? But let's just say when I grew up in first grade, there was 30 kids in the class, okay? Eight were Jewish, okay? Another 10 black. The rest, you know, Catholic for the most part. And there was 2 Baptists. Two Baptists. Okay, we had 1 Baptist church in the entire township. It was the Baptist church. You went there, okay? You didn't have 19 decisions within a town. So that was it, okay? And we never thought about it in the way that the media wants you to believe it is today, okay? So I don't quite understand it, and I do know it exists. But I do think it only exists. I think it's worse now, racism and the division in this country, after what Barack Hussein Obama did in this country, creating the climate. Okay, identity politics, separating us into voters. You know, they separate our asses into voters, okay? Okay, and you don't vote, don't matter. So you have the don't matter at all, and voters anyhow. All right, that being said, I just want to do one more thing on this for a reason. I brought this up, okay? I brought this up. And when I say that, I know there's not another show that emphasized this the way I did. They continually brought up, and I know this is not going to go away, so I just want to be on record. When John McCain died, okay, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, or whatever it was, okay, my worst joke is, you know, John McCain's last words to Lindsey Graham is, "Don't call me after 3, I won't be here." Okay, so anyhow, when John McCain died, okay, he immediately, you know, we were going to elevate him to sainthood. I mean, they're running him through all of the tests now to see if they can't call him St. John McCain, all right? But they immediately started talking, the Democrats immediately started talking about changing the name on the Senate office building, okay? Changing the name on the Senate office building and taking the name Richard B. Russell, okay, off the building and renaming it the John McCain Senate Office Building. Remember, we talked about this on the show. They have a plan. The reason I'm looking at this as they have a plan, and you may think I'm silly, when they tell you, the socialists, they have a plan. They're nonstop. Erase history. You got to erase history. That's part of the deal. Okay? Now, who is the Russell Senate building named for? And you got a picture of Senator Richard B. Russell? There's Senator Richard B. Russell. U.S. Senator Richard B. Russell of Georgia served in the Senate for almost 40 years, from 1933 until his death in 1971. Now, the Russell office building in Washington is named for the late Georgia Senator Richard B. Russell. And Russell, a native of Winder, Georgia, served the U.S. Senate for 40 years, from 33 to 71, an advisor to the presidents who once ran for president himself in 1952. He was considered one of the most influential senators of his time. He was Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives, and he was governor of Georgia. This guy was governor of Georgia before his election to the U.S. Senate in 1932. All right. So that being said, he is also the one, okay, Richard B. Russell, okay, is perhaps best known as a supporter of the U.S. military and defense and an influential opponent of federal civil rights legislation, according to the New Georgia Encyclopedia and other biographicals of Russell. His role, biographies of his role as chairman of the Armed Services Committee and member of other key committees made him a key decision maker. Okay, he went up the Civil Rights Act of 1974. Okay, he was a leader of Southern senators who opposed the civil rights legislation, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964, according to the U.S. Senate biography. Now, let's get past that. Why is that important with Stacey Abrams burning the Georgia state flag? Why is that important with she will sandblast Stone Mountain? It's not just the Senate office building, okay? So this article from CNN is August 27th, 2018. Richard B. Russell's name, okay, happens to be on the dam, the Richard B. Russell Dam, the Lake Savannah River, okay? The Richard B. Russell Building Special Collections Library houses, among many of the Richard B. Russell Library for Political Research and Study, okay? The Richard B. Russell Scenic Highway runs through the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Georgia. Now, here's one. A statue of the former governor and U.S. Senator Richard B. Russell stands on the Georgia State Capitol grounds complex to Atlanta. All right? On a federal building beside the U.S. Senate building is the Richard B. Russell Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse, located in Atlanta. What about that statue right there? What about the statue of Richard B. Russell that stands at the Georgia State Capitol? The only reason I'm telling you this is a very big name in Georgia if you're from Georgia and you follow Georgia politics and you follow the history of Georgia. Regardless of what he stood for, regardless of what his opinion was during the civil rights legislation, even if he went against it, regardless of what it is, you can't change history of what this man did in the state of Georgia, okay? And the 40 years in the Senate, governor and Speaker of the House of Georgia. You can't take that away, like it or not. There's a statue on the Capitol of this man. My point is I'm not here to defend Richard B. Russell this morning. I'm here to tell you, if you think Stacey Abrams will not sandblast Stone Mountain, you're wrong. If you think Stacey Abrams will not take your guns as soon as she can, you're wrong. If you think Stacey Abrams will not raise your taxes, fees, or whatever it takes, you're wrong. If you think Stacey Abrams will not implement socialized medicine that we cannot pay for and will not work in the state of Georgia, you're wrong, okay? Flat out wrong. This is a socialist. She will go through the state of Georgia. She'll go through every county and every town, and statues like this will be removed, and you cannot turn back, okay? Because you remember, put the state flag up. All right? Now, I'm not here to call a politician out or take a Republican to task, okay? I'm not. I'm not mad at these people. But folks, you need to stop. You need to not let these people continue to lie to you over and over. See, Roy Barnes was governor, okay? And Sonny Perdue was a Democrat that turned Republican. Let's just tell the truth. He's the ag commissioner now. Good for him, okay? Hey, good for Sonny Perdue. I do not dislike him. But he got elected. And if you remember right, part of his election platform is that you, the people in Georgia, would get to pick your next flag and vote on it. I have no other way to look at it other than, you know what? Sonny Perdue lied to you. You got a new state flag and you didn't get to vote on it. But remember, this was your state flag. And this was your state flag before. Not that it's awesome, not that you have to have a Confederate flag, whatever. But this was your state flag before a Democrat, Roy Barnes, took it down. And that's easy, right? The state flag. And she was protesting to get that flag down at that time. All right? And then Sonny Perdue told us all a lie that we'd get to vote on the next flag. And guess what happened? We got a Georgia state flag. I just look at it. Don't have any meaning to me. There's your Georgia state flag. Go back to the old one. Flip them over. There you go. Now come back to that one. All they did was keep the colors in there. Okay? That's not the flag that we voted on, and we were told we would get to vote on that flag. We didn't, but we let it go. And now, you know, the Georgia state flag, your kids don't know that history. It's been erased. That's been erased. So if you don't think the next governor of Georgia matters, and if you don't think all of these things that are happening, like her burning that state flag in 1992, is not part of her socialist views in this state, then you're wrong. Okay? I'm gonna upset the old Nathan Deal fans and the Sonny Perdue fans, but Roy Barnes was a Democrat. Is a Democrat. Sonny Perdue was a Democrat, is a Republican now. Nathan Deal was a Democrat, is a Republican now. And my hope is the people of Georgia will elect the first Republican governor, the actual Republican governor. That's Brian Kemp. Stop the madness. Don't let Stacey Abrams be governor of Georgia. I can't put it any clearer. Now, I got to move along to something else. This is all Josh's fault. If you liked what we did this morning, thank Josh. If you didn't like it, it's all his fault because he got me stirred up. Thanks, Josh. Let's take a break and we'll come back, talk about Florida, talk about a 10% tax cut. Boom, bada bing, bada boom, it's gone. Trump said 10%. Right off the top. He's like, hey, if you come in today, he's like Crazy Eddie, come in today and I'm going to take 10% off. What a campaigner in chief. Take us to break.